Welcome into another edition of Chalk Talk. Nick Camino, Ben Axelrod here with you. We are already into week 11 of the NFL season, week 12 of the college football season. Week 11 for us, we've been picking games against the spread, Ben, for entertainment purposes only, a side, a total, NFL, college. It's worked out this season. It's been a fun format for us. I wish I was winning a couple more games. You are still above the 500 mark, which is nice. Ben, on the season, we've got you at 16-13. And now my record's all kind of messed up. I'm 11-18. I'm going to be one less game than you because this past weekend we did have a postponement, a cancellation between Cal and USC. So I think there was COVID problems with Cal. It's weird, though. We have not seen as much of that this year as we did last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to say last year this was a weekly occurrence for us. Is we would pick last year we were each picking 6 games, and we'd usually come back with a result for like 3 or 4 of them. So this week, I think this is our first cancellation we've had to deal with. So I guess that's good news as far as football is concerned. The NFL, you've had some players, obviously Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, going into COVID protocols over the last few weeks, but by and large, no, obviously with the Browns, Nick Chubb as well, but no issues where any games have been put into jeopardy. So all in all, a lot better, a lot more consistent football this season than last season.
If you're keeping track of last week, Ben goes 1-2. I go 1-1. We each have 3 picks this week. We are all on sides, not totals. No totals on this one. And Ben, we've got you picking a college game this week. This is like a miracle.
Yeah, it's what you want to start with mine, because I think it's the college football game of the week, right?
Yes. Yeah,
All
sure.
right.
Let's go with you first. Maybe, you know what? Maybe this will change up my mojo a little. I'm going to have you go first here.
Yeah, mine as well. I'm coming off a couple of 1 and 2 weeks here after a nice run of 2-1s and 3-0. So I've got to get back on track as well. So I'm going to pick the Ohio State versus Michigan State game here. I'm going to give you a little Lee Corso here. I've got the Spartans plus 19. I look at this line. I just think that this is too big of a line when you look at how well Michigan State has played, aside from obviously that slip up against Purdue a couple of weeks ago. And then the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes have had trouble, putting away opponents. We saw it a little bit last week when they played the Boilermakers. We saw it the week before that when they were playing against Nebraska, the week before that against Penn State. I mean, this is not a Buckeye team that's been blowing the doors off of opponents on a consistent basis. And then conversely, I think this Michigan State team, obviously with Kenneth Walker III, I think the way they're going to be able to, control the ball when they're on offense, I think that's important just in terms of having a 19-point spread. I think that Peyton Thorne has done a nice job at quarterback for the Spartans. I just think all in all, this, I would still pick the Buckeyes to win this game outright if we had to pick a money line here, but we're not picking a money line. We're picking the spread. So I'm going to take Sparty. I think we're going to have a Sparty party in Columbus. I think the Buckeyes win outright, but I think Michigan State covers this 19-point spread.
Come on. I thought you'd put it on for us. I thought you'd do the whole show with the helmet on.
Maybe at the end of the show here.
Listen, it makes sense. I think that they had to make the line this high just to get two-way action. I think if you make it any lower, they're just going to be flooded with Ohio State money. This is the only way to get people on both sides. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it. As I look at this game, I think of the game a few years ago when Ohio State was about a 2-touchdown favorite. It was a 15 and they ended up
15 in Columbus. Yep.
Yeah, it was rainy and they were running with JT Barrett, not Ezekiel Elliott. It was a really head scratching kind of game, and they lose that game. And at that point I said, man, that spread seems kind of high. And that's kind of where I'm at with this matchup. It just seems high. Yes, I think Ohio State wins the game. But are they starting to think about the Michigan game the following week? Are they starting to say, man, if we win out, we're going to be probably top 4 again in the college. We're top 4 again in the college football playoff. If we slip up one more time, are they really going to let a 2-loss team? And I think Ohio State could have the potential to play tight. So I'm not going to disagree with you on this one. Michigan State, I think with Mel Tucker and with their game plan, as you mentioned, with Kenneth Walker III, they're going to try to kind of ground and pound and control the clock and maybe slow it down a little bit. And if they do that successfully, I really think they can cover the 19. So you have full agreement with me on this one. Can't believe I'm saying it because I thought Ohio State had the potential to maybe blow these guys out. But the more I think about it, and the more you think about this matchup, 19 I think seems a little bit high. But I think it's really two-way action.
Yeah, and another thing about this game, you look at, remember when Ohio State lost to Oregon earlier this year, obviously that's 2 months ago now, but they really struggled with CJ Verdell, Oregon's running back. Kenneth Walker III is the best running back in the country. And I think another, a side twist or a side plot to this game is this could decide the Heisman race. Right now, CJ Stroud is the favorite, believe it or not, at I think I saw plus 180 odds here heading into this week. Kenneth Walker III, after that win over Michigan a few weeks ago, he was the favorite. This could be a chance for him to really, have his another Heisman moment, make another statement. And then CJ Stroud, this could be his defining game as well. So nice little side plot there in Columbus.
I think that Ohio State-Oregon game was the last college game I won on this show. I think that was that was the last time I won a college game. So I'm going to go with one college pick this week, two NFL picks. First game is actually in the JV division, also known as the Big Ten West. Iowa is minus 12 against Illinois. I think this number is going to go to 14 before kickoff. Illinois is starting to have some COVID issues. Brett Bielema is not going to coach in that game. He's out with COVID-19. And Iowa all of a sudden seems like, I know they had a couple of losses here, but right now, if they could get Wisconsin to lose one more game and they run the table, it'll be Iowa in the Big Ten championship game against either Ohio State or Michigan or whoever ends up representing the East. So I think they know that. They know the situation, and they really played well against Minnesota last week at home. So I'm going to take Iowa here. Illinois has shown us at different times they can play well. They beat Penn State in 9 overtimes, but I just think that this is a group that's kind of running out of gas a little bit in Illinois, and I think Iowa can win by 2 touchdowns. Again, I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. The spread we have now is 12, and I think by kickoff that might be a 14-point spread, so it might be a push opportunity. So, but I like Iowa here minus the 12.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this line is going to probably move throughout the week, especially with Brett Bielema being out with COVID. I think, one interesting twist is Brett Bielema, I think they announced it on Tuesday that he'd be out with COVID. That does give you some time if you're Illinois to figure things out. I think looking back to last weekend in the NFL, one of the things that was interesting was that Ben Roethlisberger COVID news came out late Saturday night. And in theory, the drop-off from Ben Roethlisberger to Mason Rudolph is not that big of a drop-off. I think in some cases you could argue it's an upgrade for the Steelers. But because it comes so late, you have to adjust, you're scrambling, all of that. That's not going to be the case here. The Illini, the Fighting Illini, have had all week to figure this out. But I tend to agree with you. I just think, you're getting this line now at 12. It's going to go up to 14 by the end of the week, you would think. Iowa has more to play for in this game. They have every incentive to make this a 2-score game, a 3-score game. And I'm with you here. I can't fault you on this one.
Okay. So we both have 2 college picks in the bag, both in the Big Ten. Now we'll get into the NFL here, Ben. We'll go with you first. We'll stay with you first here. NFL pick for you. Second pick.
Yeah, I am going to take the Washington football team. I'm going to take them plus 3.5 at the Carolina Panthers. Look, I think everybody enjoyed watching the Cam Newton homecoming last week. There's a reason he was out of the league. There's a reason that, he was one of the worst passing quarterbacks in the NFL last season. There's a reason that just 2 years ago, Carolina let him go. I don't think Cam Newton has a lot in the tank. So it looks like he's going to get the start here. Washington is going to be without Chase Young. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. But I do think they've found something on offense with Taylor Heineke, believe it or not. Terry McLaurin, I think this is probably a more talented Washington football team than they've gotten credit for throughout the year. So this Carolina team, I think their season was kind of coming off the rails, and they go in, they beat an Arizona team that was without Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins. It was a nice feel-good story for one afternoon, but I don't know how consistent you can expect this Panthers team to be week in and week out. So I'm going to take Washington. I'm going to take them plus 3.5 here on the road.
Yeah, only concern here would be the fact that Carolina's at home. But yeah, the line almost seems like even a little bit of an overreaction to what you mentioned from last week. So Washington coming off a nice win against the Buccaneers. And I'm with you in that I think they're better than their record might show. They've had some close losses. They've had some tough luck at the beginning of the year. So it's a stay away from me, but I could see all of your logic behind it. Again, the only concern would be that the fact that they're on the road, but that's it for me. All right, second pick for me. I'm going to go with the Detroit Football Lions getting double digits against the Browns. We'll call it plus 10. Lions are getting 10 points from the Browns. I think the Browns will win the game, thankfully. If they don't win the game, we got a big problem on our hands, Ben. I just think the Lions, I know they've had some blowout losses, and that's going to happen in a season like this, but they've also had some pesty losses where they've been right there. They tie the Steelers last week. I know the Steelers were without Big Ben, as you said, but they found ways at different times to keep games close with some teams they probably didn't belong. I remember that Monday night game against the Packers. They were pretty close at halftime. I think they were winning at halftime. So, I think that this is a team that if you just go out there and you think you're just going to go get a victory just by throwing the helmet on and the shoulder pads, I don't think that's going to happen. And right now, with the state the Browns are in, we don't know what's going on with Baker Mayfield. It doesn't look 100%. I think the Lions 1-8 or 0-8-1. I know that, but I think they're better than their record. I can't believe I'm saying it. I think they're better than 0-8-1. I know they're not very good, but I think they find a way to keep it close. I think they even scare the Browns a little bit this weekend. Thankfully for Browns fans, I do think the Browns will ultimately find a way to win and get above 500. But 10 points, it's a lot in the NFL. I don't care if it's the Lions, and the Browns look pretty bad in New England last week.
Yeah, so my first inclination is to agree with you. I just, on general principle, I do not think this Browns team has shown that they deserve to be favored by 10 points, really against anyone, which if it's going to be against anyone, it's going to be probably the Lions or the Texans, who I think they were 10-point favorites against as well, and they actually covered in that one. But I look at it then, I taking a bigger picture look outside of what happened in New England last week, the Browns are just 2 weeks removed from blowing out the Bengals in Cincinnati. Like, I think that one thing about this Browns team is that they are just a front runner team. I think that when things are going well, they really have the ability to, build on top of that success. And then when things go poorly, they have the ability to just continuously shoot themselves in the foot. So, they're really at a point this season where I don't know what to expect from them. This is a complete stay away from me. But yeah, I mean, this Browns offense, especially not knowing the statuses of Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt at this point of the week, definitely a stay away game for me. But yeah, I mean, I certainly can't fault you for picking against the Browns in this spot. But I also, could very well see a spot where they come out and they light up the Lions just like they lit up the Bengals just 2 weeks ago here. So definitely this Browns team in general is a stay away team for me.
I'm obviously pulling for the Browns, but I'm hoping for the cover middle. I'm hoping for the middle with the Lions to lose by 9. If that's
nice 9-point win for the Browns.
9-point win for the Browns, 29-20. There you go. All right, a final game for us. We have agreement. Might be the first time this year.
I don't think we have agreement here. I didn't realize we had the same pick here, so I'm going to go the other way on you here.
What's going on here?
I was really on the fence about this game, and just seeing that you were on my side, I think has finally swayed me. So I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. I've got the Dallas Cowboys +2 at the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, I know it's easy to say that the Chiefs got back on track last week against the Raiders. That was obviously my thinking when I initially took the Chiefs here.
That was a good pick by you. That was a good pick.
This Raiders team is falling apart. I mean, this Raiders team has just had so many issues off the field, some really serious issues off the field. They've had to part ways with 2 first-round picks here over the course of the last 2 weeks, in Henry Ruggs and Damon Arnett. I just think eventually you have enough off-field distractions. I think it catches up to you. Just from an advanced analytics standpoint, looking at DVOA, Football Outsiders DVOA metrics, the Cowboys are a top 15 team The Chiefs are like around 15 right now. They're with the Browns in the middle teens here. So look, we have a pretty big sample size of this Chiefs team not being able to put it together, to play inconsistent football throughout the season. They were obviously able to run it up against the Raiders on Sunday night this past week, but I'm going to take the Cowboys. They've been the much more consistent team. I'm going to take them plus 2.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys won this game outright.
Just making sure I'm not going crazy because I have a text here from you that says Chiefs minus 2.5. That's how ice cold I've been. Ben saw that I was on his side. He goes, whoa. We're going to ride Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. All right. Listen, I get the home team here. I feel like the Chiefs have finally put this slow start behind them. It's funny because in that division, those other teams, they could have started to run away. Yep. They kind of let the Chiefs hang around. And now I think the Chiefs are going to make everybody pay. I think they're finally getting right. They're at home in this game. They win by a field goal. I'll get the cover here. Feel pretty good about that. Cowboys, I know, coming off a big win. But they also, 2 weeks ago had that ugly loss against the Broncos that, eliminated me from my survivor pool, and I'm still upset about it. So but I'm going to take the home team here. I think the Chiefs have finally put it together, and I like the way they're running the ball. I like the way they're throwing the ball. Something doesn't seem still 100% right with Patrick Mahomes. He's not running as much as he used to. I wonder if that turf toe is bothering him.
Yeah.
But I still think it's enough to get the job done at home, minus 2.5. I think there's some value there. You're the one that taught me that. You can get the Chiefs a little under a field goal. You feel pretty good about it. So I'm going to take your advice and go against you, and I need a 3-0 week here, all right?
Look, it's terrifying going against Patrick Mahomes right now with only 2.5 points to my credit here. So this should be a fun head-to-head matchup. I mentioned Ohio State, Michigan State on Saturday. I think this Chiefs-Cowboys game is clearly the game of the week in the NFL.
Ben, always fun to be with you. We did it again. Another week in the books. We'll be heading in. There it is. Wow. Hold on. I got to get a picture of this. This is fantastic. All right. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for watching us, and good luck this weekend.